All right, I want to welcome everybody here. Want to just get an idea as to how did your first quarter go? Q1, how was your quarter? Are you on track for your goals? Are you behind? Are you crushing it? Today, we're bringing to you some Tom Ferry information directly from Tom. He's going to be talking about how to get the yes, his listing appointment challenge. And so we're going to jump right into this video and what he is teaching today.
All right, so it's 11:02 here in Dallas. And so today I get to kick off the let's just call it the spring market listing appointment challenge. And I know, everybody out there is dealing with the same thing. So you are not alone if you're saying things like this. I'm writing lots of offers and it's harder and harder to get them accepted. If you're taking listings, you know that they are selling instantaneously with multiple offers across the country, Canada, US, Mexico, all my clients in Europe, Australia, New Zealand. We're dealing with the same thing everywhere, and that is the lack of inventory. But what we're really seeing, my friends, and this is what I want to stress to you as my coaching client, is my client, what we're seeing is the bifurcation of agents. Now, if you're paying attention to my content, I've been saying the trifurcation because I say there's basically 3 types of agents today. Just talking about the US because I've got the optics on it. Would it shock you to hear that 40% of agents in the country have not closed a deal this year? And we got one of our brand new clients and a brand new agent who has 2 closings already, right? So 40% in the US of 1.5 million agents had not closed a deal by around the middle of March. So maybe they've closed one since, but I doubt it. The other 2 groups are in what I call stuck or scaling, wildly successful, but they're stuck because they're out of time or they're spending too much time working with buyers and the hours associated, the offers associated, the time associated, they're stuck. Maybe it's you. You're wildly successful, but you're not optimizing your time. You're not doing the highest and best use because you run out of time. And then the scaling group is the group that's focusing on what matters most, which is taking every listing they can, every research phase seller they can, that appointment, every ready to go appointment, and they're carving out the time to make sure that they're making their phone calls. Like that's it. Like those are the 3 groups. And I know even inside our own community, inside of our own ecosystem, we might have some brand new agents, like one that just mentioned here, right? Who's killing it already. But I've got a lot of men and women that I know that fall into that sort of bifurcation of not making their calls and making their calls. And listen, as the head coach, I think I've earned the right to look you like right in the eyes and say, if you're in that camp that's not making their phone calls, right? Not calling your own database, which we're going to talk about today, not doing the brilliant basics to attract more. This is like a call to arms because the market's not going to get any easier anytime soon. So we've got to get focused. And that's why we're doing this campaign, like for the entire month. Let's just focus on getting as many listing appointments as we can so we can win. Make sense? So I'm going to share a little insight for my core clients on the line. We did this in January with all the elite. I did a survey of them. And I basically said, like, if you and your coach could only focus on one goal for 2021, just one goal, like what would be that one thing that if you prioritized your time, your schedule, your marketing, your concentration around one thing, what would give you the greatest return for that focus? And of course, everyone talked about everything from transactions and profitability and operational excellence, brand expansion, scaling trust, number of reviews, but hands down, the winner was, everyone said, focus on appointments. If I focus on listing appointments specifically, if I make that my concentration every day, that is my daily intention. I'm going to get a listing appointment today. You with me? Those are the ones that are dominating right now. So I hope whether you're, brand new or you're my client, Maxine, 45 years in the business, wherever you find yourself today, for the next 90 days, we want to center our focus around this. Now, for maybe a few of you that are newer, I put this in because I think it's just important. Many, many years ago, I was coaching at the time, call it 5 of the top agents in all of San Diego County. And I would sometimes drive down there in the morning and have an 8:30, a 9, a 9:30, a 10, a 10:30, 11, right? And I'd meet with all 5 of them, all very different business models, all in the same office. At that time, the Prudential, now Berkshire Hathaway, La Jolla office. And I remember walking out of the meeting one day after a series of client meetings, coaching sessions, and Nikki, the office manager, said, "Hey, will you meet with this gal real quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like, "Hi, nice to meet you. What's your story?" She's like, "Well, recently divorced, moved to San Diego, have 2 kids, sold 3 houses last year, very tired, exhausted. I'm driving all over San Diego County. I'm not sure what to do. Like, what's your advice?" And I basically said to her, "Look, whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you focus on expands." And she's like, "Okay, I get that, law of attraction, woo woo." And I said, no. Here's what you understand. The human mind can only concentrate on one thing at a time. And if you can have laser focus around that one thing, it really expands like, the light. And she's like, "Okay, well, what should I focus on?" I said, "Well, let's look at what most people focus on." And you can kind of see by the bullseye where we want to get is signed contracts. But we both know that's a lagging indicator. What are the leading indicators? And what I told this young gal was, look, most people get caught up in the drama. And the drama today is interest rates are on the rise. Disruptors are coming inside the marketplace. Maybe it's life experiences for you. I hope not. If they are, I'm praying for you, right? Otherwise, you know what it is? It's the lack of inventory. And everybody talking about the lack of inventory. They spend so much time talking about the lack of inventory. If they just took that time and focused on making their phone calls, they wouldn't have this problem. You with me? A lot of people are focusing on their incomplete projects. A lot of people are focusing on getting organized. Some people are focused on making contacts. That makes me a little happier. Some people are focusing on their leads, but leads have no value. You're like, "Oh, I have all these leads and it's so great." Look, leads have no value. The only thing that matters in this game is he or she who can book the most appointments. That's the game. And that's what we want to focus on as a community for the next 90 days. And truthfully, for the rest of our lives together. Like, it's always going to be the thing. So look at this, for example, and just ask yourself, be honest. What's taking up most of my day? What's taking up most of my day? And you could say, "No, Tom, I've got on there, I have to go, meet with the client. I've got to go do a walkthrough," right? That's getting organized. That's incomplete projects, things that are getting done. You can label it however you want. My question is, if I followed you around for a week, how much time would I see you concentrating on getting listing appointments? Is it 1 hour a week? Is it 3 hours a week? Is it 2 hours a day? The bottom line is this, my friends: whatever you concentrate on, you're going to get more of. So I hope you get that, because that's the focus. I've asked all the coaches to double down their efforts to make sure that you are getting the right number of listing appointments. So by the way, with that said, big shout out to longtime coaching members. Started with us in 2012. I think I was in Fort Lee, New Jersey, on the other side of the bridge from Manhattan, doing a seminar for a couple of days. And this handsome guy walks out to me, "Okay, Tom, I want to do this, get me into coaching." And he's been a client forever. Peter Rader, if you don't know his name, great guy. Look at this. This is he and I, after the January elite, we made the decision that he would text myself and his coach every single day and let us know, did he make his phone calls? He's got to talk to 19 people a day in his database. You guys hear me? He's a veteran. He's got to talk to 19 people a day inside his database and try and focus on scheduling listing appointments. Now, this is a few weeks ago. He's already blown beyond this, but he'd already booked 13 listing appointments in essentially 14 days. 13 listing appointments in 14 days. And everything he's doing, I'm going to give you insight on today so you can do the same. So maybe we need a little hashtag here, like, call like Peter, because Peter is killing it right now. And Pete, if you're out there, how proud I am of you. Keep up the great work and stay in communication. Keep texting myself and your coach every day. Now, let's just go with the question. And I want to see some comments, right? So in a minute, I want to just answer this question. What's the most listing appointments you've scheduled in a quarter? What's the most listing appointments you've ever scheduled in a quarter? So think about this, and you might be guesstimating, and that's totally fine, but I want to see it in the chat. Put it in the chat. What's the most listing appointments? Okay, so not enough is not an answer. 5, I'm new, so none. Totally fine. I see another 5. I see a 5. I see a 1. I see a 2. Perfect. You guys and gals are like nothing but upside potential. I love this. 12, 2, 4, 15, 3, 10 is an ISA. I love you. Paula says 25. Harry says 19, right? Ashley says maybe 5. So here's what's great, my friends. Here's what's great. You know, when you look at our industry, right? This industry accepts all people of all race, all color, all religion, all sex. And you know why they accept them? Because they make their phone calls, because they do their work, right? Because they dig in and they do what it takes to be successful. So whether you're a 30-year veteran on the line and you've gotten 12, congratulations, Cynthia, or, you are, newer in real estate, 5 years or less, 2 years or less, 12 months or less, it doesn't make a difference. My client, Zachary. So Zachary is, look at that one. Somebody just popped up, 48. No shock, Lori McGuire. Zachary is the grandson of Maxine Gellens, my client in La Jolla. Been working with her for 22 years. For some of you newer people, heads up. She's been my client for 22 years, every Monday at 11:30 on a coaching session. Zachary was having a hard time finding his way. He expected he would just walk in and just because his last name was Gellens, that he would just start doing transactions. Well, in this marketplace, finding buyers, as you all know, is pretty easy, but all the action is in finding sellers. His coach, Jeff Mays, said to him, look, partner, here's what we're going to do. You're going to do circle dialing around recent sales. And guess what? He's taken 5 listings from that in the last 2 months. 5 listings in the last 2 months. So all my friends out there that are sitting there and saying 1 or 2 or 5 or 4 to 6 or 10 or 12, if Zach can do it, if Peter can do it, if all these men and women we know are doing it, you can do the same. So check it out. What I'm going to ask you to do first is to make a decision. I want you to decide right now, before you even look at this screen, just decide right now, what would be a bananas number for you if you said, man, the most I've ever booked is 5 or 4. What would be a stretch number for you? Something that would cause you to be uncomfortable, that would cause you to get outside of your comfort zone. What would be a real challenge for you that would alter how you show up? It would make you change your schedule. It would super focus you. So look at these 20, 30, 5, 12. I want more than that, Bruce. I see you, Bruce. Paula, I want more than 40, right? And for Tanya, I want more than 5. I like that 50 number. I like 15 per quarter, but Angie, 15 per quarter, though that is going to be bananas, it's going to be 60 for the year. I'm saying to you, what would be a stretch for you? So I'm seeing all these numbers. I love them all. But here's what I want you to do. You ready? Ooh, Gloria, I see 66. I get your kicks on Route 66. Tanya says 75, right? So Jamel says, hey, 6 or 7. And Jamel, listen, go for 10. Go for 10, screw up and get 8, and we'll both laugh about it. Does that make sense? Yeah, you like that? Get your kicks off Route 66, of course. 30 a quarter. Bianca, I love that. Beautiful. Now, look, there's no right or wrong number. What I'm going to say to you as the head coach is I want to challenge you to think bigger and therefore act bigger. And when you do the disciplines, the brilliant basics I'm going to share with you in a minute, you're all going to blow past these numbers if you just give it the time, meaning you schedule the time, you put it in your schedule, you hold yourself accountable, you communicate with your coach on a regular basis about all your numbers. You're going to do it. So let's get into it. Here's the first thing I want you to do. Longtime client, longtime coach of ours, Jason Ferris, hugely successful, came out of a Tom Ferry workshop one time where I said, you got to use the 4 disciplines of execution. You got to get your numbers up in visual, your goals up in visual. And he comes back in his office and says, Jason Ferris is dedicated to booking 225 listing appointments for the year. You can see this is 2016. Now he's blown way beyond that. But here's what he did. That was up in visual so everybody could see it. It was up in visual so everybody can see it. Now, everybody could be your office. Everybody could be your team. Everybody could be your cat. It could be your spouse, could be your kids. But the more you engage the people around you in your intention, the more you engage your friends, your family, your coworkers, your loved one, your coach, the community, like you're putting your numbers here, the more you put your booty on the line, the more action you take. Does that make sense? And you could see Jason clearly massively failed on this. He only booked 205 appointments, missed it by 20, 17 canceled, went on 188, and listed 143 in 1 year. And 2016 was a remarkable year on so many levels for him. Now, what's the secret sauce here? You got to get that number up and visual. You got to be tracking and measuring, whether it's on a whiteboard like this, right? You and your coach texting every day, have it on your bathroom mirror. You got to get committed to it, my friends. That's how you create the first step of that big breakthrough. Now, here's the second one. You ready? I'm asking you from today until certainly July 1st to reorganize your schedule around booking appointments, So what does that mean? You got to have a morning routine that fires you up. Now there's 8 million books on this and 7 million podcasts. Here's the thing. Ready? You need to exercise and do something to get your mindset right. You need to exercise, and that could be walking the dog. That could be going for a run, doing some yoga, whatever you do. But like 6-7 days a week, you should be doing something that gets your heart rate up so you feel good. Because when you feel good, like you always do after your workout, never before, always after your workout, you feel good, you perform good. End of story, period. It is psychology 101. But the second thing is like, what are you listening to? Tom Ferry podcasts. I've got 3 that I want you to listen to right away. I'm going to show you a slide in a minute. You want to be doing these things because it's getting your brain activated, right? So then when you get to the office or you're in your home office, your business morning routine should be looking at the hot sheets, right? What's selling, what's not selling, what's going on, being that smart knowledge broker, right? Looking at the MLS, doing a quick role play, practice, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, warm up, and then get on the phones. And you probably heard culturally, if you're new to us, 554, which was my personal client's goal. He had to talk to 5 people a day in his database. Listen to me, people. 5 people a day in his database had to talk to him. Had to talk to 5 new people every day. Only focus was on getting listings, and 4 people in his follow-up every day. People he promised he would follow up on April 1st, 2 months ago. He's got those people in his follow-up, and he's doing that as well. So 554, which means you're talking to 14 people a day. Now look at me. You talk to 14 people a day, you're going to book listing appointments every week, guaranteed, end of story. Make sense? And I'm going to give you what to say. I'm going to give you some scripting. I'm going to give you some of the easiest questions to ask to open up the conversation and not even have to ask for a referral. How about that? Right? Obviously, beyond that, you want to measure your results like you saw here. So let's talk about quickly listing attraction, brilliant basics, things you can start doing today that will get you listing appointments. So obviously, the first thing is you want to work your database. Whether you have 200, 500, matter of fact, just for fun, everybody right now, grab your phone, go to your contacts, and go right down to the bottom, right past the pound sign. And I want you to type in how many people you have in your phone. So I have 5,456. Went to the bottom of my contacts. How many people? So Stephanie, look at this, 1749, 1200, 505, 786, 409, 58, 625, 576, 200. I mean, look at this, guys. Oh my goodness. I want to call your database and take half the commission. I really do. So look at 8,895, right? 2,640, 598, 798, 4,386. Okay. So you guys get the idea, right? The first thing we want to do is we want to work your database. Now, stop typing for a second and listen very carefully. This is what I want you to understand. I'm looking at some data right now on a trailing 12-month from one of the biggest data mining companies in real estate in the US, meaning they had a hypothesis that these people were thinking about moving. And then we look back over 12 months to figure out what percentage of them actually put their home on the market. And guess what, guys? Here's what we know. A minimum of 5% of the people in your database are going to move in the next 12 months. A minimum of 5% of the people in your database are going to move in the next 12 months. And here's why, right? As I sit here in Dallas on April 1st, you and I both know this. Listen very carefully. Right now, tonight, 5:30, 6 o'clock, someone in your database that you haven't called in a long time. Yeah, they got an email. Yeah, maybe they see you on social. Maybe you sent a mailer, but you haven't called them in a long time. They're sitting at their dining room table and they couldn't close their laptop after they just heard some news from their boss as their 3-year-old, 5-year-old, and 7-year-old run by, 2 dogs and a cat, mass chaos, end of the day. And their spouse, by the way, is in the master bedroom in the closet where they work. And they come out and they're like, hey, how was your day? Oh, and they're sitting at the dining room table and they say, hey, my boss says we're doing really great, but they've minimized the size of the office. We're going to be remote for at least the next 2 years. And in that moment, they look at each other and say, where the heck do we want to live? Where the heck we need a backyard. We need an office. It'd be nice to be near a lake. It'd be nicer to be near this. Let's go closer to my parents. And just like that, my friends, in that moment, where do they go? Where do they go? Think about it. They go to Zillow. They go to Redfin. They go to Trulia. They go to HomeLight. They don't call you. And I'm sorry, don't get mad about it. Do something about it. We need to be texting and calling. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is happening every day in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, in Europe, in Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. That's happening every single day, my friends. If you're not making the phone calls, you're missing 5% minimum of people that are going to sell their house. So what should we do? Our goal is we got to find the research phase sellers. This is our goal. We got to find the research phase sellers that are thinking about doing something in the next 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, right? And of course, in the meantime, while we're doing this, we'll find the ones that are ready to go. So check this out. I'm looking at 4,480 people in Tammy's database, and Rosario, I think it is. I barely see this. Sorry, 504. Talisha has 448. So when I look at all these numbers, here's a campaign we know absolutely works. I want you to text 180 people over the next 4 weeks. Don't do it all at once. Don't do it all at once because they're all going to respond so quickly and then you're going to be overwhelmed. 5 a day, 10 a day, figure it out. Small number every day. You're going to get a lot of responses. You can see the data here. 144 people responded. 44 people raised their hand and said, I want that. 38 CMAs created for people that want to know the answer to the text I'm going to give you in a sec. 12 research phase sellers 1 to 2 years out. The agents that are doing this campaign know now in their database, they've got 12 listings coming in the future, past clients, sphere, referrals, people that they met that are inside their database because they did the campaign I'm about to show you. Think about that. They have future listings coming because they did this. In addition, 3 listings taken from that campaign. So if you look at this and say 15 research phase sellers, 3 listings taken out of 144 responses, my friends, that's more than 10%. I promise you just 5% based upon the look back data of the last 12 months, but they're seeing 10% of the people are like, yep, I want to sell. Research and ready. That's the game. So what do you text? You text them this, hey, Courtney, hope fam's doing great. Like, instant basic rapport stuff. The real estate market is, and you actually put bananas. Why? Because that little banana, people are gonna be like, what? Banana? They're going to see it. It's going to mean something. Hey, the real estate market's bananas. If you haven't heard, right, I'm reaching out to find out if you're curious about the real value of your home, right? Super simple, my friends, super simple. And this is the kind of response you get. So the first thing I want you to do is start texting people from the bottom of your phone, the X's, the Y's, the Z's, the one you haven't talked to in forever. And let's start activating them with a value add, curious about the value of your home. The second one is I want you to start making your calls. And I give you this again because Peter Rader is just making calls and talking to 19 people a day, and his business is exploding with listings already. Exploding outside. So 554. I saw somebody say 554. What is that again? I want to stress 554 is I want you to talk to 5 people in your database every day. Now, some of you that have 2,000, I want you only to call people in your database. I don't want the next 5, which is 5, new people. I want you to talk to 10 people a day in your database, 15 people a day in your database, because here's why, my friends. When they close that laptop and they go to Zillow, they go to Trulia, they go to HomeLight, they go to Redfin, they're gone. It doesn't matter what your ethos is. They're now in the cycle of being sold off to someone else because you're not making the calls. I do want to scare you. You're going to lose 5% of your database. They're going to get marketed to by somebody else. They're going to go to a portal, and you're going to lose those listings because you were unwilling to make the calls. This is a call. I mean, like this, look at, let's go. We got to get on the phones, people. But Tom, what do I say? I got you covered. This is the only question you need to ask. Hey, Tristan, Steph, just checking in. How's it going? Tristan is my producer beyond. Hey, Tristan, like, how has COVID in the last year, the pandemic, the lockdown, how has it changed the way you feel about your house? And then just shut up. How has it changed the way you feel about your house? Oh my goodness. Like, Steph and I just realized, our office needs a fan, right? We need more backyard space. We got a puppy now. We want this. We don't want to be on the second floor. We want a 2-story house, or we want a single-story house. Like, everything is changing. You don't even have to say, have you had any thoughts of selling? Like, how has it changed? They're going to tell you everything. This is the question I want you to ask your database over and over and over until you get through the entire 793 people. The entire 793 people. Tom, how do we track the calls? Yellow notepad, Excel spreadsheet, Sisu, auto dialer, easy. Any one of those. Don't make it complicated. You with me? Use your cell phone and you can track how many phone calls you made at the end of the day. Like, don't make it complicated. Don't let anything like that get in the way of your blind ambition to find every listing and to help every client. Make sense? All right. Here's some additional power questions. Hey, Tom, I wanted to let you know that home price appreciation in 19 and 20 was 13%, 15%, 18%, 22%. I also wanted to know inventory is off, like the number of homes currently for sale for the massive number of buyers in the market is down like 75% year over year. And as I mentioned, buyer demand, right, is creating a multiple offer situation and driving up home prices. So basically, any seller that sells in 2021 is going to capitalize on crazy low interest rates, incredible buyer demand, and how COVID has changed the meaning of the word home. So I'm curious, like, Tristan, who else do you know that's thinking about selling? Do you know anybody that's thinking about selling? And have you guys had any thoughts of selling? These are the questions that are causing people to win right now, my friends, because they're making their phone calls. The other one is, how's the market, right? Here's the simplest answer. The market's really challenging. Like, tell the truth. The market's really challenging. We simply don't have enough homes to sell for the number of buyers who desperately want to buy. It's like I'm in high school again. It's like a classic supply and demand. So I'm curious, like, you're asking me that question, how's the market? Like, what's on your mind? Well, we were actually thinking about this, or my mother-in-law that, or I got a friend out of state who's this. All of that is an opportunity. Every time someone asks you, how's the market? What they're really asking is, hey, I want to know, are buying and selling and this for me, for someone I know? They're prospecting you. They are prospecting you, my friends. All right, let's keep jamming. So what do I want you to do? I want you to make your calls. I want you to grab your phone and say, I have so many people inside here. I'm going to call every single one of them. Now, I saw some people say, Tom, like, I'm newer. My database isn't as big. And so for the person that said, hey, can we get a copy of this? All these slides are going to be inside a Loom, right? You're all going to copy of all of this stuff. So don't worry about trying to capture it all or write it all down. I should have told you that up front. So let's keep going. You ready? There's three podcasts you should listen to right away. Tom Toole, which was yesterday. Tom talked about circle dialing, calling around recent sales because there's more buyer activity than there is sellers, right? That's Tom Toole, top left corner. Deb Bly, right here in Houston, Texas, talked about the same thing. 5 women all shared their best listing attraction strategies. And 2 weeks ago, Byron Lazine said, I've got brand new agents on my team, one in particular that booked 3 listing appointments, circle dialing in one session. The bottom line is this, my friends, it's all about making the phone calls right now. The agents that make the phone calls bifurcate themselves away from the complainers that are saying there's no inventory to the people that are getting listings as brand new agents like Zach Gellens or veterans like so many of you out there. So really what I'm asking you is to decide to be an appointment setting machine. Like commit, like the number that you put in here, like, okay, 25, 36, 42, whatever that number is, right? 18, commit to it and make that your mission for the next 90 days. I had the number one agent in the world as my client many years ago, and he's still a client, but now he's a broker owner, so he's off that list. The year I got him to number one, it was a 2-year journey. Here's all I did with him. I said, what do you love to do more than anything else? He said, go on listing appointments. I said, how many do you currently go on? He's like, I go on maybe like, one a week. And I said, what's your capacity? He said, I'd go on 2 a day if I could, 5 days a week. And then all we did was alter his schedule, his marketing, and his phone calls to do that. He became the number one agent on the original Wall Street Journal top 1,000. Back then it was the top 100 list, number one agent. Last year, those lists are peppered with fellow coaching clients. Andy C., who was just with me in Dallas, who did $600 million in sales, 300 transactions. He has 45 listings in his research phase coming on the market over the next 4 months because he's doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. So whether you're a brand new agent, you're Peter veteran, you're Peter, right? Or any one of you out there, it's just making the decision. My job is to get appointments. Like my job is to get knee to knee, face to face, belly to belly, with a mask, on Zoom, whatever it is, with as many potential home sellers as possible. Everything else, my friends, everything else is not going to get you to your true optimal results this year. So I'll leave you with this. The last thing I want you to do, I want you to declare how many listing appointments you're going to have for the next 90 days. And then I want you to take a photo in front of the house or Zoom meeting, depending on which it is, and then tag me in it. Tag your coach in it, tag me in it. We call it the Listing Appointment Social Challenge. This is my personal client, Tim Smith. He's now in 70s, like 70s in terms of listing appointments for the year, right? Absolutely crushing. He does 554 every day, 5 days a week. He understands no one makes phone calls. He makes phone calls. And oh, by the way, his average sales price is 2.8 million. He's in the high end of coastal Orange County, California, and he's killing it. He did $700 million in sales last year and went on 227 listing appointments. His mission for this year is 300. So whether you're going on 30, whether you're going on 15, whether you're going on 46, I want you to start taking photos, tagging me and saying, this is number 1 of 40. This is number 4 of like 18, the number you want to go on. I want to see that in the social. Tag me. I will post it and share it with others. But more importantly, the people that know you, like you, and trust you will start asking you, what's 16 to 30? What is that? And you're like, oh, I made this challenge to help as many sellers as I could by meeting with them, letting them know the value of their home. And if they want to make that move, to be there for them. By the way, do you guys know anybody that's thinking about selling? It's that good, my friends. All right. So I've given you a lot to think about. All of my slides will be inside a Loom, but here's the deal, my friends. The slides are meaningless unless you grab them, use the script, and make the phone calls. That's who's winning today. The best agents, the veteran agents, the brand new agents, and everybody in between. They're calling their database first, They're calling all their other lead sources and people that are newer and experienced are circle dialing around recent sales and taking listings left and right out of your database, because 5% of all the people in your database are going to put their home on the market this year. So listen, let's go. Let's get on the phone and let's find them. Let's text them. Let's make the phone calls. Let's be the kind of people who can. I love you. I respect you. Now let's get to work. I can't wait to check in with you and see your numbers. Keep up the great work, my friends. Love you guys. Let's go. Let's get on the phones.
All right, so we're going to stop there. If you have your looks like Judy, you're the only one in the class with me. I did see one other person, but they
Am I
jumped
the only
out.
one
Judy,
left?
are you there? You're the
I'm
only
still
one
here.
left.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. Good to
Okay,
good to
good.
hear you this morning. So is there anything you want to share as far as your takeaways today on what we learned?
No, it's a good reminder to
Yeah.
continue making those phone calls. So I don't think I'm at the level that he's saying, you know, trying to get like 70 appointments in a quarter. That's just not the level of activity and work that I personally need.
Right, but I think what his point being is that we all set our own goals, right? And it's a matter as to being accountable for those goals and then being consistent about your follow-up so that you can meet your goals. Yeah, there's agents that are doing 300 transactions in a year. There are agents that are doing 25 transactions in a year. Whatever their goal is, what's really important, and how do you consistently reach out to your sphere to do that, to meet those? Because you were saying 5% of your sphere, whether your sphere is 200 people or 7,000 people, 5% of your sphere is going to move this year. So are you going to be the agent that they reach out to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I am seeing that there's people doing things that I didn't know they were doing. And I'm like, oh, I could have helped you find an agent. I could at least get a referral fee if I helped you find an agent. So I did like his script about the market's going bananas and reminding people and just reaching out. So I think it's a good idea to text people. So I am going to add that as just texting and then following up with some phone calls with people. So it's a good idea. Cool. So I liked it. So is there a place to get like his, whatever his slides were? Are you able to share any of that?
It will be in the video that I'm going to put on the YouTube channel. I don't have, there's a possibility I might be able to find those slides. If I can, then I will put a link to it with the video and share that out later. So I'll see what I can do to come up with that. Yeah. Okay. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you later.
You too.
Thanks for being here.
It's already 72 here.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It is. Yeah. My daughter just came in from a run and she's like, Mom, it's really hot. So I looked and I'm like, 72 at 11 o'clock.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Good day.
Okay. All right. You have a good one too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.